We return to check out more of Two Worlds 2, specifically its DLC, and this time we're checking out Echoes of the Dark Past 2, the sequel to Echoes of the Dark Past. The quick description says your Two Worlds 2 multiplayer adventure continues in Echoes of the Dark Past 2. 3 brand new domains await you, each with 2 unique paths, for a total of 6 never before seen maps to explore. What's different to Echoes of the Dark Past 2 in comparison to the previous Echoes of the Dark Past? Well, the first part was more linear. This boasts, as the description says, the largest map in Two Worlds history. This is presented as an open world. It's also presented with, I guess, more involved quests because there's different paths to take. And when we go into the menu, you'll see what I mean by that. So you access the DLC similar to how you would the previous one, where you go into the hub area of the multiplayer game and start a match or join one. And you scroll down near the bottom and you can see where it's listed as EOTDP2. So the first one is Desert Storm, and that's the open world map. And below it you can see Mendel, Vanderbilt, identified next to each of the next maps. And that's to indicate that those are part of the different paths you can take in this DLC. And let's hop in and take a look at what the map looks like. I'm going to be honest, when I loaded in the map, I was actually surprised that it is an open world and you're greeted by a voice character who talks to you almost immediately to give you a quest. I've noticed when you're talking to NPCs throughout this map, you seem to activate them at a further radius than maybe you should. Maybe that's to facilitate multiple players, in a kind of multiplayer scenario. Now, I am way under leveled for checking this out, but out of curiosity I thought, how long could I survive by just running away from everything? Because one of the pluses of an open world map compared to a linear cave, like if you watched the previous video on Echoes of the Dark Past 2, those maps are tight, so it was a bit difficult to weave and dodge. I wanted to see how far I could get in this DLC, but just not fighting anyone. Because on my first death, you just respawn where you died. Of course, losing the XP you would have gathered, kind of then making your progress mute. But I was just curious, like, how could you avoid all the combat? Not that you would want to, because I'm assuming if you picked up this DLC, you want to play more multiplayer. You wouldn't want to avoid the combat. But while we run through this map, which is fairly sizable, to be honest, I'll give them that, we'll kind of maybe flick through some of the features here. So like it says here, the first non-linear multiplayer experience in Two Worlds history. Caught in the middle of a bloody war for mythical ancient artifacts, you must choose a side, unlocking new maps and story events depending on your alliances. Which, that stuff I like. It's nice to see some variety and optional choices in the map, it helps with replayability. Explore the brutal landscape and unforgiving climate of Desert Storm, a true open world multiplayer adventure. There's also a monster team deathmatch, where you fight a traditional battle against an enemy team or duke it out against deadly thugs and bloodthirsty desert creatures who respect no alliances. According to this, there's updated tactics, allowed for spectacular range combat against evil mages and lonesome wizards. Updated tactics mightn't sound too great if you're looking at the footage on screen right now, which I assume is just me running away from everyone. Face all new enemies in 2 separate adventures spread across 6 maps. Experience a new level of immersion with a brand new musical score. And I'm going to be honest, while I was playing through this, or running through this map, I did notice that the soundtrack was catching my ear a bit more than the previous DLC. I actually kind of liked it. I might play a bit here for you right now, so you can kind of hear it. Weapons and equipment from the latest Two Worlds 2 single-player DLC, Call of Tenebrae, are available to collect, trade and sell in the multiplayer mode. Updated and enhanced monster packs and a randomised enemy generator unleashes 30 vicious enemy types in different numbers and variations to match your character's power level up to 300. So if you are experienced with this multiplayer aspect of Two Worlds 2, which I'm clearly not, but still curious just to see Two Worlds attempt at creating DLC 8 years after the release of the original game, hence why I'm making these videos. Let me know if these kind of DLC packs, specifically the multiplayer stuff, is scratching that itch, because I'm not sure the amount of people who play the multiplayer, if it's in a high, player count, and if it's not, those few who are playing it, I'm assuming enjoy the experience, and I want to know if these maps and these new multiplayer DLCs, Echoes of the Dark Past 1 and Echoes of the Dark Past 2, are something that are kind of scratching the itch for what you enjoy specifically about the multiplayer aspect of Two Worlds 2. So as you can see in the footage behind you, I am just running past every single enemy. Now, that does come to a conclusion, I guess. I do get to a point later in the map, which we'll skip to in the footage in a second, where it is clear that I have to take out enemies to progress. And I'm totally unequipped for that scenario. I'm deep into the map. But I survived long enough. I was actually surprised. I was able to kind of progress the quest far enough, further than I thought I would. But it unfortunately came to an halt. There was one little thing. I'm not sure if it's in the main game. I'm assuming it is, or in previous DLCs. But I was able to acquire an instrument and play a mini game similar to Guitar Hero, and I'm gonna be honest, my attempt, I don't want to blame the game, but man, that those prompts went fairly fast. I'll show you footage right now. You can probably see me failing. Maybe I was just crap. I'm not playing Through the Fire and Flames on Two Worlds 2. But there was a chicken, and the chicken seemed pleased of my attempt at a performance. So in comparison to the previous DLC, there is while the kind of story, and that's the one aspect that maybe entices me to try out multiplayer a bit more. I'm not really a multiplayer person, but if there's a bit of a story or a bit of a connection to the main game, I'm more inclined to kind of give it a go. And in Echoes of the Dark Past, the story for the most part was just letters, and you would see like text on the screen, but it does have dialogue with various characters, which I was surprised with. You're actually greeted immediately by a voiced person, so there is that. If it does seem like it's an improvement on presenting this DLC in comparison to the previous Echoes of the Dark Past.
And rumor has it, they're hunting the same stuff those university eggheads want. But I'd bet my blade they'd pay better if you were inclined to switch sides.
Most of all, creating this video, I'm more curious as to the people who play Two Worlds 2 consistently and have been picking up the newest kind of DLC. Is this giving you more of the experience you want? Or does this feel like half-arsed? Or what is your opinion? And specifically on the multiplayer side of it as well, because I'm assuming that the people who are invested in the multiplayer of a game 8 years after its release are fairly dedicated and find something very specific that they're probably not getting elsewhere. And I want to know if this multiplayer experience and the previous Echoes of the Dark Past, is that providing you with what you're seeking from these type of experiences? So I think that's enough. I know it's a short video, but if you're interested in a DLC, I don't want to spoil all the various stuff. And to be honest, I'm way under leveled. But I did get fairly far into the map without fighting a single person, so I'm not sure if that's good or bad. You would want to say it's a bit iffy if you're able to fully skip combat scenarios, but you could also say that it's a byproduct of being an open map and the player just being a shit like me. I will leave you with kind of a weird bug, I guess you could call it, that just when I was about to turn off the DLC, I was just kind of trying to jump into every nook and cranny to see what was at the kind of back of this section I was in, and a surprise emerged and flew off into the sky. And I just don't know what. I have no words. You'll see for yourself. And I'll throw in a little tip before we leave. If you're fighting these weird creatures, just hide in a tent and they seem really displeased that you've vanished. So yeah, thank you for checking out the video, and that is that, and I'll see you next time.